Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us, and welcome to Croton-Hudson, the amazing Harmon shop. I'm Jano Lieber, the MTA Chair and CEO, here with C&D President, MTA Construction Development President Jamie Torres-Springer, and Metro-North President, Queen of both railroads, Kathy Rinaldi. I'm also joined by a couple of elected officials who have been really key to the success that Metro-North is having. Assemblymember Ken Zebrowski, thank you so much for being here. Assemblymember Dana Levenberg, thank you so much for being here. Ken, I have to say, during your time as the Assembly Transportation Chair, you have been an amazing partner, and we have been able to get huge things done for the MTA and especially for Metro-North. And I just want to acknowledge your incredible leadership in your capacity as a major player in the New York State Assembly. So Ken, thank you. We'll be celebrating Ken Zebrowski until the cows come home, let me tell you. We have all come out here to celebrate the completion of major upgrades here at the Metro-North mega facility that we call the Harmon shop, which is really the heart of Metro-North's repair and maintenance operations for the entire railroad. More than 1,000 people work here every day. We like those jobs, right, elected officials? Every day, and now we have a brand new 400,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility where all of this important work can be done for decades and decades to come. This milestone was a long time coming. It dates back to the early days of the MTA capital program. Back in '83, when the newly created Metro-North Railroad, which was born from the ashes of Conrail, when Metro-North inherited this site, the Harmon shop was totally inadequate. And now, after 23 years and 5 MTA capital programs, it's finally done. And I really want to give a tip of the hat to the construction and development operation at MTA, Jamie Torres-Springer, who brought us over the finish line. A lot of people worked on it at Metro-North and at the MTA operation, but you guys dragged it over the finish line. I know that this is not as glamorous as when we unveil new train cars or have a grand opening for a new station, but this is the stuff that actually keeps the trains running. And having a state-of-the-art facility like this is one reason that Metro-North is operating at 99% on-time performance. Our railroad cars at Metro-North break down only every 600,000 miles. That's called MDBF, mean distance between failures. 600,000 is unbelievable. In the old days, MTA subway cars broke down every 5,000 miles. And here we are, 600,000 mile MDBF, incredible. I actually ran into somebody on the subway and chatting to somebody. I said, what's your commute? She said, I take the Metro-North New Haven line. I said, how's the service? And she says, I set my watch to it. It is absolutely perfect. And, you know, she was actually told me some things she didn't like about the subway, but on Metro-North, she was out of sight thrilled. This is the kind of work we are highlighting as we start to think about the next MTA capital program. MTA Construction Development did an amazing piece of work, which is called the 20-year needs assessment, which shows that we have hundreds and thousands of components that are past their useful life. Like shops and yards, we got some shops and yards in our MTA system that look like they're out of a Netflix documentary about the Industrial Revolution in 19th century Europe. They are just like falling apart brick structures with roofs that leak and no adequate facilities to actually maintain the cars. It makes a difference. We have to have first-class repair and maintenance facilities. Now, we are in the process of developing the new 2025 to 29 capital plan so we can keep up the pace of all of these behind-the-scenes investments that make it possible for us to deliver first-class service. And even though we're celebrating this huge success at Metro North, I'm telling you, the next capital program has got to invest seriously in Metro North. We can't put off fixing the Grand Central train shed. That's the bridge over that is Park Avenue, where all those trains coming out of Grand Central run. And the concrete is falling apart because 100+ years of water and chemicals and salt have really wiped out those structures. We've got to get new rail cars. We've got to fix the platforms all over the Metro North system, which are starting to buckle. And we've got to make investments that will protect the Metro North system, especially the Hudson line, from what climate change is doing. If we don't do something, the Hudson line's going to be underwater, and we have to deal with that in the next capital program. So huge thanks to Governor Hochul and all our state partners who have massively stepped up in recent years to recognize the importance of mass transit and investing in it. We have been great beneficiaries of Governor Hochul's leadership, the state legislature alongside her. They delivered unprecedented budget actions to make sure that we could keep delivering not only as much service as before COVID, but more service than before COVID, and that we could deliver it all on time and on budget. And we're confident that they're going to continue leading the way as we approach this new capital program. So before I turn it over to Kathy, I want to share another item of good news for our Metro North customers. It is no secret that the folks who live west of the Hudson River, on the other side of the river, don't get the same quality of and frequency and reliability of service as we all do here on the Hudson and Harlem and New Haven lines. Why? That service is run by New Jersey Transit, which is struggling financially and in many other ways. Why? The tracks are owned by the freight railroad, so you can't really do enough to make them that much better for passenger service. So we want to do something about it, and I have talked a lot to Ken Zabrowski about this for quite some time. So in order to help our folks who live on the other side of the river, Rockland County and Orange County, get to the amazing Metro North service that's over here, we are increasing the ferry services, especially the Havistraw-Ossining ferry. We are going to be discounting parking at the North White Plains and Metro North stations, so folks can actually, who want to take advantage of the great service over here, can actually drive. We're going to be discounting the special ticket that people use for the bus that comes over from west of Hudson across the Tappan Zee Cuomo Bridge and gets to the east of Hudson. So we are delivering a package that's going to allow people to save, who are doing that type of commuting, to save some real money. We're going to give them more options. And one of the reasons we want to do this is as we approach the onset of congestion pricing, we want to make sure that the folks who live in Rockland and Orange have a few more options to get to this amazing Metro North service over here instead of relying on New Jersey Transit. So we're thrilled to be able to announce that in addition to celebrating this amazing project. There'll be a press release dropping today with some more of the details about the increased ferry service and the parking discounts and the additional bus discounts as well. So with that, thanks again to everybody. I didn't do my job and do all the acknowledgement. Number one acknowledgement is all those people standing in the back who built this project, Skanska, Echo, the AECOM team that oversaw it as our construction manager, the Metro North people who really run the job and are the overseers as the owner. And I also want to acknowledge a couple of partners who are here with us today. The Federal Transit Administration, who funds this and so many other projects, as our HOKE. Thank you for being here. Senator Pete Harcum's office is represented by Tito Davila. Tito, thank you. Assemblymember Bepham's office, Sean Hammond, is here representing that elected. And Assemblymember Mary Jane Shimsky has arrived. Thank you, Assemblymember Shimsky. You've been part of the success of Metro North for quite some time. So with those acknowledgements, let me turn it over to the one and only Kathy Rinaldi.
Thank you, Jano. I'm really thrilled to be here today to celebrate the opening of this phase of the Harmon shop. As Jano said, this has been a major hub of operations for 100 years, and until now it really looked its age. You can't tell by looking around this morning, but on a rainy day like today, a few years back, there would have been water pouring through the roof like a sieve. It was dark, it was dirty, it was dim, and today it's beautiful. Harmon Shop is a critical location on our railroad. It supports our Harlem and Hudson line service. And a little bit of history. After the completion of the electrification of Grand Central Terminal and the lower Harlem and Hudson lines in the early 1900s, Harmon became the transfer point between electric and steam and later diesel service for the New York Central. The shops here were built in sections beginning in 1903 through the late 1920s. The original yard was approximately 300,000 square feet, which is about a third of the current configuration. The facility serviced steam and electric locomotives as well as coaches and self-propelled cars, with the transition from steam to diesel occurring in the 1950s. As Jana just noted, the surveys and the design work for the replacement of the Harmon Shop project began in the late 1990s, and the actual replacement project began in 2001, 23 years ago. The project included 5 phases spanning multiple capital programs. But our commitment, the MTA's commitment to this location, reflects how critical this shop is to keeping our fleet maintained and in a state of good repair. As Jano noted, regular maintenance extends the MDBF. It's the metric that we use to quantify the performance of our train cars. It's a measure of our fleet's mechanical reliability. And with a new, improved Harmon shop, we can continue to deliver exceptional service to our tens of thousands of daily customers. Just some specifics with respect to why this shop is so much better. It provides safer and more comprehensive crane coverage for material moves, including HVAC units, more cohesive and efficient shop layouts and material flow through the maintenance cycle, which allows us to operate more efficiently than we currently do, dedicated platform rooftop access with fall arrest, dedicated state-of-the-art shops for HVAC, truck work, clean rooms, small part paint, etc. These are designed for specific tasks. And we also have equipment redundancy that supports our maintenance schedule. But it goes without saying that without the dedicated workforce of the Metro North Mechanical Department, this new shop and everything in it would be useless. These employees are the silent heroes of our railroad. They work behind the scenes every day to make sure that our equipment is clean, safe, comfortable, and functional. They work through the night to make sure that the equipment is good to go in the morning, and they come out in the dead of night and in all kinds of weather to respond to emergencies all around the railroad. We had one of those earlier this week. Most of our customers never encounter a mechanical employee, so I want to take this opportunity to extend my thanks and their thanks to the railcar electrical mechanics, carmen, foremen, supervisors, cleaners, machinists, sheet metal workers, laborers, the management team, and anybody else that I might have missed who make the Metro North Mechanical Department such a source of pride for all of us at the railroad. So, round of applause for the mechanical team, please. And with that, I'd like to pass the mic over to Jamie Torres Springer from Capital Construction. No, not Capital Construction. What do you call it now? Construction and Development, C&D.
Thank you very much, Kathy. It's great to be here. Kathy has done a great job of summarizing everything that we did here over these 5 capital programs with an investment of more than $1 billion of federal and state funds. Let me just say that we did that on budget. And if not for some fairly minor COVID-induced delays, we would have been on time as well, which shows how the new MTA is poised to deliver on capital work. This is a great example of that. The facility is amazing, and you've heard about all the ways that it's amazing and such a huge improvement for Metro North. So let me just acknowledge our C&D team that delivered this project: Ziona Rubin, Todd Lang, Craig Gustafson, Rosemary Hudson, and Cheryl Blackman, the retired Cheryl Blackman, who was an integral part of this. And we also are really proud of the Skanska Echo team We have some lifers here who I want to acknowledge: Paul Olson, Casey Belair, and David DeMattea from ECHO, and then from AECOM, of course, the incomparable Don Dunthorne, who's also here and has been at work on this project for over a decade. We're extremely proud of the work that we've done here, and it points the way to more successful capital investment to keep trains running on time. Thanks very much. With that, I'll call Assembly Member Ken Zabrowski for some remarks. Thanks.
Thank you so much. It's so exciting to be here today. Take a look at this facility. You could eat off the floor here. It's amazing walking in here. I had the opportunity to take a tour several months ago and to see all the work that was going on here, sort of get a glimpse into what was and what will be or what is now. Kathy Rinaldi talked a little bit about some of that history. And besides it looking great, just getting a sense of all the technological upgrades, all the things that went into making this really a yard for the future. How the trains pull in, being able to work on them underneath and all those things. It didn't come from nowhere. It came from the hard work of so many people. So let me just start with thanking Jano Lieber and his team, Kathy Rinaldi. They spend each and every day thinking how to make this system better, more efficient, and to provide more service. I've seen it firsthand in the legislature. And of course, they couldn't do it without the teams that are with them. I want to thank all the folks that were involved in the construction here, Jamie and his team, and also everybody that will be providing the lifeblood of this yard each day of each week. They are the folks that make sure that these trains run, that get everybody to and from, whether it's work, whether it's family, whether it's travel, whether it's vacations. Those folks are what make this system run. And lastly, let me just say, New York State invests in its transit and needs to continue to do so. Transit is not an area where you can cut corners because it exacerbates. The condition of the stock starts to deteriorate, the tracks start to deteriorate, the service starts to deteriorate, and it's a snowball effect. So New York needs to keep up with that, because at the end of the day, the entire New York State economy is fueled by what happens in the MTA. Those that are, and I represent a west of Hudson county, and Jano talked about some of the things we're working on, and we have some exciting announcements later. But people like to talk about the costs and the things and the service. And what I see as chair of the committee is oftentimes people take 100 years of complaints and bring them back into the present day. But the fact of the matter is our entire regional economy and our entire state economy is dependent upon this service. And I believe that this MTA administration has breathed a breath of fresh air into transparency, timeliness, and efficiency. And we see it. We see it each and every day with that service, 99% on-time service, and we see it with capital facilities like this. New York's on the move, and we need to continue it with the next capital plan. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you so much, and I just echo my colleague Ken Zabrowski's comments. Welcome to the 95th Assembly District. I'm so proud to represent this region, and we know that Metro North is critical, certainly to my constituents here. So many of them use Metro North to get to work, and so many people come visit here from the city, and we want to make sure that that continues. Having this shop here not only provides an incredible number of jobs, locally as well as beyond, but also make sure that this system keeps on ticking. Thank you, Jano, for mentioning climate change and how that has the potential to negatively impact this line. We know that you're on top of that, and we want to make sure that we continue to invest in this critical piece of infrastructure that serves all of our communities so well. I actually take the train now up to Albany, and I come here to Croton once a week during session, and well, I come here twice a week, I guess, going and coming, and it really does run very, very efficiently. I see it with my own eyes. I also utilize the train to get into the city, and it just makes it so much more pleasant than having to take a car. So knowing that the congestion pricing is coming, knowing that there's more options for people on both sides of the river, and making sure that we can continue to provide this service, that's what this facility is all about. I am so, so grateful to all of the people who worked so hard to bring this to fruition, all the boots on the ground. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay. And once again, thank you again to Assemblymember Shimsky for joining us as well. Part of this amazing team in this region supporting transit. Ms. Min?
Yeah, question. Let's start with Ben Mandy of News 12 Westchester. Ben.
Hi, thanks for having me here today. So as for the improved service for people in Rockland County, you said that New Jersey Transit runs the service, the freight companies own the lines on that side of the river. So are you saying to some of these local officials that it's pretty much impossible for them to have a one-seat ride?
Well, right now it is totally impossible because the tracks don't go to the city of New York. They stop in Jersey, and then you have to get over by other means. So what we're doing, and again, I just want to acknowledge Ken Zabrowski's advocacy on this. What we're doing is we're adding ferry service. There are a lot of people who take the ferry to get to the trains on this side because the service is better. We're doing discounts of some parking, so people who do elect to drive across the bridge and come and take the great Metro North service over here will pay a little less. We are actually also discounting that bus that is provided by the state of New York to get people from the west of Hudson over here, all adding up to better connections, cheaper connections to the unbelievable Metro North service on this side of the river.
So do you have a vision for rail service on the western side of the river, or is it even worth having one?
Yeah, no, we have to do it, and that is one of the points that we've made to New Jersey, which is, listen, eventually you guys have to do a significant project that's called the Bergen Loop, which will enable all of these trains to go into Manhattan. It's a project in the heart of New Jersey, and they're the ones running it and putting the money together. But we said, when that project is done, and it ought to be done soon, it's got to have room for plenty of Metro North customers to get right into the city. That is our priority. Slots for Metro North going into Penn Station.
How have you tried to make that happen or improve the chances of that happening in New Jersey?
Well, it is the next phase of the Gateway project. You've heard about the Gateway Tunnel project. They got to do all these major rail enhancements to actually make sure that the service over here connects into those new tunnels. That's the key. New Jersey's got to get on the stick.
All right, let's go to Chris Collicott there from CBS. He's representing Marcia Kramer here today. Chris.
It's a quick question. It's just another follow-up on congestion pricing. And if you could just give us the quick nuts and bolts on it, and if everything is in place and running on time.
Yeah, so, the preparations for congestion pricing have been incredible and extensive and going on for some time. So all the infrastructure that actually will take the camera shots is in place. It's all ready to go. There's a 5G network ready to go. But most important, we've added a lot of service. We've added express bus service inside the city of New York. We've increased Long Island Railroad service by 40%. We've increased service on half of the New York City subway lines. And today we're talking about increasing ferry service, 30, 40 miles north of the city. We're all over this, and we're ready to go.
All right, thanks everybody. For those who are watching the feed, and there are a lot of you, we're going to be moving over now to Ossining. A release will come out from that event. It's a photo op, not being live streamed, but we're going there with some of these officials. Thanks everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you.